Hello again. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry I've taken a few weeks off, but sometimes being a bipolar person, your head is not in that space. It wasn't. So I've been cooking tons and tons of cooking because I cook all the time, but I just didn't feel like, putting the camera on and making up some stuff and thinking of interesting things to say, which sometimes is a struggle. And I imagine if you've watched a few of these videos, it's a struggle that carries on. But anyway, yeah, I have an Instagram channel. Doesn't contain marzipan again. I shall post it here. And I would encourage you to go and have a look at that because when I am not in the mood for video cooking, I definitely take photos of my cooking and post it on there anyway. So I think there's about 5 or 6 recent recipes that haven't made it to the video channel that are on there. So please go and have a look. What are we doing this week? I've searched far and wide for something interesting to start off, re-kick the channel off. And it's a Kharcho. It's a Georgian meat and walnut stew, whatever. Tom can't get round S's today. Anyway, a soup stew thing from Georgia. This is Georgia on the eastern side of Europe, not Georgia in the United States. The ex-Soviet bloc, the sort of where the, the Iron Curtain used to be. It's one of those countries. I need to learn more about it. It's not a country I know an awful lot about. But anyway, this is a lovely meat soupy stew with a lovely rich sauce, and then you add rice in near to the end. It looks almost exactly like a meat curry, a lamb curry, but without any of the spices. There are no connections other than the meat itself. Let's get on with it. Bye-bye.
And we return to the board of goodness. It's been a while. What have we got on today's board of goodness? At least a couple of kilograms of a decent lamb. What have I got here this time? That's half a leg of lamb. So leg of lamb and shoulder of lamb's good. I'm going with leg of lamb today. A little bit of flour to toss the lamb in. 4 tablespoons of butter. 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Couple 100 grams of walnuts. I'm going to really blitz those up to almost they're a very fine paste. In here, a couple of teaspoons of fenugreek, a couple of teaspoons of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 3 cloves of the garlics, 2 litres of the stock. I'm going to use a lamb stock this time. Apparently that's quite good. Where are we? The stock. Tamarind, 3 teaspoons of tamarind, 150 grams of rice, a couple of tablespoons of freshly chopped coriander right at the end, and I've got a couple of spare tomatoes there in the corner, which I shall use. I think that's about it. Let's get on with it. So I've just chopped up my lamb. I've got a couple of pieces here that are next to the bone, which I shall fry separately. But what am I going to do? Oh yes, toss the lamb in the flour before frying. So I'm going to use my frying pan for frying off the meat. My Dutch oven's okay, but it's not great at frying, and you have to spend 5 minutes deglazing the pan, which, in some ways is good and other ways is a pain in the neck. I know deglazing the pan adds some more taste, but it's with these posh Le Creuset Dutch ovens, it's quite a lot of pan to be deglazing. So I'm going to cook in my frying pan and then set them to one side. So quick splash of olive oil and a couple of tablespoons of the butter, and we'll go half and half. So it's just starting to brown. So I will swap those out to another bowl and get on with the second batch. Rum-ti-tum-ti-tum, rum-ti-tum-ti-tum, rum-ti-tum-ti-tum-ti-tum-ti-tum. So the second batch is done. These to one side. Da-da-da. I'm going to throw in these couple of pieces with some meat still on the bone in here. And that's going to go over into the corner. And we'll get the actual Dutch oven casserole dish thing
going with a little bit of butter and some oil, and we're going to have in our onions and garlic. So very, very lightly brown with the onions and garlic whilst that meat is finishing off over in the corner. So probably 5, 6, 7 minutes. Now I'm going to pop in the couple of tomatoes about halfway through the onion cooking stage. So we don't need to worry about cooking them for a long time. 5 minutes is about right. Because this is going to be sitting here for quite a long time in this pan anyway, everything's going to melt down into the sauce. So I'm happy with where those, you can cut them up finer if you want and make more of a paste. But I'm happy with where that's going. Next bit is going to be the tomato puree, tomato paste. What did I say? A couple of tablespoons. Yeah, that's a very generous couple of tablespoons. And I'm also going to throw in the herbs and spices. Lowish heat so you don't burn anything. And give that a minute or two. More of the minute than the two. And I'm going to throw in my very, very chopped up walnuts. And again, another minute. Oh, the smell coming off that at the moment is really, really nice. Just got to be careful not to burn it. All this is going to be deglazed when I put the stock in a second. 1 minute. Stock. 2 litres of stock. Put a little bit more in a minute. My kettle's only 1.7 litres, so I'll add a little bit more in a second. Ooh, lovely. Turn the heat right down now. And I'm going to start slowly adding the meat back in so as not to splash and go everywhere. So just slowly add all that in. And I'm going to add in my bones, which have still got plenty of meat on. And I shall fish those out a little later in the cooking process and pull all the meat off the bone. So I don't really want to leave the bone in right to the end because you don't want to eat bone. But the taste is there, the flavour is there. So right, I think I've got everything now. This is an hour and a half with the lid on, bubbling really, really slowly. Check every so often. Make sure you have deglazed the pan on the side there. It has deglazed and doesn't just add to the burn. So yeah, 90 minutes, off we go. Oh well, I knew I'd get something. I forgot to actually put the stock in. I just put the water in. Now this is quite concentrated, so I'm just going to put a little bit in to start off with, and we'll check on that every so often to see how stocky it becomes. When you're dealing with something new, don't go mad. Always do it a little bit of time and add. Only when if you know exactly what a stock cube is going to do in a certain amount of water, and you've done it a few times before, get in there. But if you haven't, this is a new bottle I'm trying out. A little bit at a time. Anyway, yes, 90 minutes, every so often check. Hour and a half in. Let's have a taste. Nice. I have to add a little bit of salt on that journey because it wasn't tasting salty enough. So now 3 teaspoons of tamarind. This is going to make it quite tangy. And I'm going to throw in, not all of that, in the end I decided probably about 150 grams rather than 250 grams. And this is now going to cook for as long as it takes rice to cook. So I reckon another 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. Check on the rice. The rice won't completely dissolve in that time, but it will get very soft. Right, back onto the little flame in the corner. 20 to 25 minutes.
And there it is at the end, at the finish line. You can, should you so wish, reduce the liquid down a little bit more, but it is a soup, so some soupiness is allowed. I have a bunch of fresh coriander here, which I shall be putting on each dish as I serve it. I'm not going to put it in the stew itself, soup, stew, whatever. But I tested the meat a few minutes ago, and the meat is very nice, just tender. Oh yeah. The tamarind wasn't a particularly strong tamarind, so be careful of that. What I've done to keep the tanginess in is I've just squeezed the juice of a small lemon and a little bit of its skin, the rind, the zest. That's the word I was looking for, zest. Anyway, it's done. Lovely. Next time.